So, hi everyone, and welcome to Unacademy NEET Topper Channel, your one-stop solution for physics, chemistry and biology. तो आज हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही अमेजिंग आपके भैया आने वाले हैं एंड ही इज ऑल इंडिया रैंक 1 नीट 2021. अभी वो एम्स से बस कैप पकड़ के आए हैं मैम के स्टूडियो में, हमें बहुत कुछ अच्छी चीज़ें बताने के लिए, आपको मोटिवेट करने के लिए. तो आज हम उनसे पूछेंगे कि क्या चीज़ हमें नहीं करनी चाहिए नीट 2022 के लिए. सब आपको बता दें कि ये कर लो, वो कर लो, ऐसे पढ़ लो, वैसे पढ़ लो, बट देर आर कॉमन मिस्टेक्स जो हमें अवॉइड करनी चाहिए अपने प्रिपरेशन के टाइम पे, और ये लास्ट 3 मंथ्स में इट कैन चेंज योर वे ऑफ प्रिपरेशन. सो लेट्स वेलकम मृणाल. आज हम मृणाल, पहले तो बच्चों को बढ़िया से हाई कर दो एक.
Hello everybody, hello everyone. My name is Mrinal Koteri and thank you for watching.
तो सबसे पहले मैं एक बात बता दूं, अभी हमने एक स्पेशल क्लास भी ली थी साथ में एंड लिटरली इतनी अमेजिंग वो स्पेशल क्लास थी कि बाद में सेशन के बाद मैं स्माइल कर रही थी कि हाँ आज बहुत मज़ा आया मुझे सेशन के बाद. तो आज जैसे कि मैंने लिखा है व्हाट नॉट टू डू फॉर नीट 2022, तो लेट्स स्टार्ट कि हमें क्या चीज़ों का ध्यान रखना चाहिए. तो सबसे पहले मृणाल, जैसे बच्चों ने बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन पूछे मुझसे, तो फिजिक्स से स्टार्ट करते हैं. फिजिक्स में जो बेसिक कन्फ्यूजन होती है बच्चों की वो ये होती है कि कौन सा फॉर्मूला कहाँ फिक्स करना है, कैसे फिक्स करना है. तो उसमें हम क्या मिस्टेक कर सकते हैं. जैसे लास्ट ईयर पेपर 3 घंटे का था, अब 3 hours 20 minutes का है. पेपर लेंदी था बट फिर भी आप लोगों ने किया कैसे?
फिजिक्स में एक बात तो है कि नाउ विथ 3-4 महीने टू गो फॉर द एग्जाम, बाय नाउ योर टाइम मैनेजमेंट स्ट्रैटेजी शुड हैव बीन सेट. तो एक बात है कि जब भी पेपर अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हो, मॉक टेस्ट वगैरह, एक्सपेरिमेंट कम करो. Experimentation is something you should have done by now. So by now you should have a more or less set strategy कि पेपर को अप्रोच कैसे करना है, कौन सा सब्जेक्ट पहले करना है, how much time to give each subject, like all these things you should have a good idea by now. So don't go trying to experiment and breaking your rhythm. So what you've been doing so far, stick to it. Don't try to make some radical change in your strategy. And the other thing for physics is, physics obviously it's a very practice oriented subject, so keep going with the practice, but at the same time don't go too far beyond NCERT. Like personally physics क्योंकि वो इतनी concept understanding oriented subject है, I always recommend going beyond NCERT, and this is something my teachers would tell everyone in my class, and I can see now why they say that. So it really helps to go beyond NCERT, but the closer you get to the exam, the more your preparation should be very directed and focused towards NEET only. So conceptual understanding, keep it just a little above NCERT if you wish, but as far as possible stick to NCERT only. And one last thing with respect to physics, again as an extension of this, lot of people ask, and even I had this doubt at one point of time, कि हम जानते हैं कि बायोलॉजी एंड केमिस्ट्री के लिए NCERT पढ़नी है, बट क्या फिजिक्स के लिए भी पढ़नी है, बिकॉज इट्स प्रैक्टिस. सो यू थिंक कि दूसरे बुक्स खरीद के वहाँ से क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने. तो हाँ, HC Verma, the 2 most common examples. But please don't neglect NCERT. NCERT physics is the most neglected book on the planet. Show it some love, okay? NCERT physics will help you more than you know. 50 में से 10-15 क्वेश्चन थियरी के आते ही है, and it is the only book which can help you solve theory questions in physics is NCERT. So please, and also NCERT is a very good way to quickly revise important formulae and concepts, because as you know, everything that's in NCERT is important. So please don't neglect NCERT. Of all the things I've mentioned, this is the most important thing in my opinion for physics.
एंड जहाँ तक मुझे पता है लास्ट सेशन में मृणाल ने बताया था कि इफ़ यू वांट टू प्रैक्टिस इन लास्ट 3 months, देन अ बुक विद द बैलेंस्ड टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन की जिसमें बेसिक्स भी है, कॉन्सेप्चुअल भी है, थोड़े से एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड भी है, दैट बुक इज योर MTG. So
yeah, I did solve a lot, and I solved that more chemistry and biology.
ओके, तो MTG फिंगर टिप्स आप रेफर कर सकते हैं लास्ट 3 months में. बट इफ यू, कल जैसे हमने एक सेशन लिया था एक और बच्चे के साथ, तो ही वॉज अ ड्रॉपर, तो उसने मुझे कहा कि मैम मैं इरोडो तक ले आया था. तो ये वाला काम हमें बिल्कुल भी नहीं करना है, हमें स्टिक टू सिंपल रहना है यहाँ पे. दैट इज योर NCERT.
With Irodo, I remember. One of my juniors actually sent me Irodo book in PDF format, and I knew I was never going to solve that book. But I opened the book, I saw the first question, I knew how to solve it, and I thought यार if I stop solving Irodov now, मैं हमेशा बोल सकता हूँ मैंने Irodov का एक क्वेश्चन ट्राई किया और मैं जानता था।
Oh my
So I stopped it there. Like और एक्सप्लोर करूंगा तो क्वेश्चन आएंगे जो मैं नहीं जानता हूँ, अननेसेसरी छोड़ दो। तुमने एक क्वेश्चन किया, तुम जानते हो, यहीं पर छोड़ दो। So like the choice of books is personal. I used MTG, doesn't mean all of you have to. That was my choice. But whatever book you choose, ensure that it does stick to NCERT and NEET level concepts. That's the only thing.
So basically the paper revolves around NCERT, तो उसको प्लीज नेग्लेक्ट बिल्कुल मत करना। तो ये तो था अबाउट फिजिक्स। नाउ वी आर कमिंग टू केमिस्ट्री। तो अगर हम केमिस्ट्री की बात करें तो इस साल अगेन 50 क्वेश्चंस विल बी देयर, सेक्शन ए और सेक्शन बी में डिवाइडेड होंगे। तो एक बड़ा पर्सनल सा क्वेश्चन आज एक बच्चे ने पूछा मुझसे कि मैम रिनाल भैया से ये पूछना कि बेंजीन रिंग वाले क्वेश्चंस कैसे सॉल्व करते हैं।
Benzene ring wale questions, if you are finding it finding those stuff, then first thing kind of revise on your GOC, general organic chemistry. Organic chemistry particularly is one thing that if your 11th class concepts are not very strong, almost the whole of your 12th it will go by you will suffer a lot in 12th. So if at any point you feel like 12th class ke concepts like aldehydes, any chapter of 12th for that matter, if you're not able to do it well, then there is a good chance it's because your 11th basics are weak. So go back, revise general organic chemistry, and because it's a basics oriented topic, that you can go beyond NCERT. Read from NCERT. If NCERT is sufficient for you to get good grasp over the concepts, then that's great. But some people, because NCERT touches many things at surface level only, they feel like knowledge is incomplete, and like I used to feel that, which is why I used to refer other books. So if you feel like you're not able to understand from NCERT, then go for I mean whatever book or online lecture, whatever you prefer, go there, understand the concept, and then come back and try to read 12th. Chances are it'll be a lot easier for you. So like benzene ring, a lot of reactions which involve benzene rings, they are based on that electrophilicity, nucleophilicity, things that oh my god, so long ago. But it's based on a lot of basic concepts which were taught in 11th. So revise that and ensure you're abreast with those topics before moving on to 12th, benzene ring and all that.
तो ये तो था अबाउट द ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री। अगर इसके लिए प्रैक्टिस करना है तो एनसीईआरटी, तो इसके अलावा कुछ
again like for 3 months again stick to like organic particularly, stick to NCERT reactions as much as you can. NCERT reactions, keep revising that as much as possible, and NCERT reactions aren't very exhaustive or difficult to understand, so you can go and like read the mechanism and all also if you wish. So organic chemistry, stick to NCERT level, that's enough, I will. Oh, and yeah, read NCERT. By that I mean that there are some theory topics in organic as well, which memory based, I mean to say. So for that, keep ensure that you read NCERT again and again, because that's revision based, not concept based.
रीड अगेन एंड अगेन, क्योंकि इसमें एक्सेप्शंस बहुत है ना।
Yeah, inorganic and organic में there are some very theory based topics. So for these two, keep reading NCERT again and again, because that's revision. It's all about memory. So it's simple. The more often you read, the greater your chances are of remembering. It's as simple as that.
ऐसा भी था क्या, you prepared some formula sheet or some short notes, कुछ है किए आपको?
I did. I remember for inorganic, I did make a couple, but the problem is by the time I started making those, it was already too late. Like at this point, you have 3 months, but I started making them, I think when I had 2 or 3 months. But at that time, it was a little too late for me to make formula sheets, because I used to make plans like, आज 3 chapter पढ़ना है. But if you read it and at the same time you're trying to make those formula sheets and all, I would not be able to go past 1 or 2 chapters. So I found it difficult to manage time, so I scrapped that idea. But making formula sheets, and especially for inorganic, charts of those exceptions, it's a great idea, and subconsciously you'll end up remembering those exceptions which just a while ago you found it so difficult to remember. So if you have the time, if you can manage time well enough to make formula charts, do go ahead and do that. A lot of my friends have done that, and it has helped almost every one of them. It's a tried and tested method. So
okay, now coming to the physical chemistry. भाई ये तो सबके रोने हैं, ये तो हमें पता ही है क्योंकि मैथ्स वीक होता है।
Physical chemistry, it's the same thing as physics. Yeah, If your mathematics is weak, then do try and solve as many questions as you can. People ask, I mean, people are, you know, they worry about making calculation errors. Calculation errors happen because you're not used to solving questions. It's just one of those things that comes with practice. There's no cheat code that can, you know, unlock this whole thing for you in a day. It's about practice, so do keep practicing as many questions as you can. And once again, don't stray too far beyond NCRT.
Okay.
3
Stay
months,
to
right?
NCRT. In the last session, you said you can prepare a
Formula
sheet
sheet,
also.
like for inorganic exception chart, like that. Physical chemistry, organic chemistry also, some named reactions particularly, these important things which you feel like you tend to forget, basically anything that you tend to forget but you think is important, the minute you put it down in a sort of short notes for revision format, half the work is already done while writing, the other half will be done when you revise it.
Revise. Very nice. Okay, now let's move on to biology. अब बायो ले लेते हैं हम. तो अगर बायो की हम देखें तो again this year we'll have 100 questions here. Section A and Section B, both botany and zoology. ठीक है. तो बायो में सबसे ज्यादा दिक्कत कुछ आती है, जैसे कि एनिमल किंगडम, प्लांट किंगडम, मॉर्फो एंड एनाटॉमी. ये तो सबसे बड़े रोने हैं. उसको कैसे किया था?
These 4 topics, if you are referring any book apart from NCRT, it will be very much in depth, very in depth. Like, I mean, this is an exaggeration, but I used to think it was PhD level in depth. Okay, but like at this point, stick to NCRT. It is not PhD level in depth, but it is way too deep and detailed and exhaustive for NEET purpose, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that you would have read those extra notes and all before, so if there were any important things in it, you have already absorbed. But now, like with 2-3 months to go, it's all about prioritizing, right? So, and in all these topics, pretty much everywhere, but especially in these topics, NCRT should be your priority. So give maximum time to revise NCRT only. If you made some kind of short notes from all those extra contents, then you can read that. But I don't think it would be wise to read all the body of content which is given for these chapters. My opinion, I think that will not give you sufficient, like, reward to effort ratio isn't that great. I think you'll be much better off reading NCRT for these.
So यहाँ पे what not to do is basically not to go through the modules which are PhD levels. Just stick to NCRT.
Last 2-3 months, I think that's the way to go.
That would be enough.
That's what I did.
And now there's one more thing: plant physiology.
Plant physiology, that is one of the few parts of botany which is understanding based, in the sense it's about understanding how a process occurs in the plant, right? So if you have any conceptual gaps, like, your choice how you want to do it, but do try and plug those. Plant physiology particularly, kind of view it as an integrated whole. Okay, instead of trying to solve questions separately, seeing that ये question आया तो इसका आंसर यहाँ पर होगा, go back, read the chapter and try and understand the whole process. Like, one example I can give now is digestion. Don't try and view processes happening in the stomach and in the intestine and in the mouth as like separate processes. There's a reason that it occurs in sequence, right? So try and visualize how the whole process of digestion is occurring in the body, and then look at the question and find out which part of the process they're asking about, instead of learning it as, you know, parts rather than as a whole. So similarly, plant physiology, whatever process is given, respiration, photosynthesis, whatever, try and understand the whole process and then go on, right?
Cycling के बाद उसके बाद dark reaction होगा, then the sucrose बनेगा.
I only remember the headings now, but yeah, all these things, they happen in a sequence for a reason, and there are so many interconnections and interrelations between them. So do try and view it as an integrated whole. Learn the whole process rather than different parts of it. This is something that for most people might have been done by now, but if not, it's okay. Whatever is your preferred medium of reading, like whether it's a particular book that you have, or asking your friends or teachers to revise it for you, or looking at some online like 3D visualization kind of thing, whatever it is, do whatever you're comfortable with, but plug those gaps in understanding.
Okay. तो ये तो था हमारा बायो का, एंड बायो के बारे में तो मैं आपको और भी इंफॉर्मेशन दे दूंगी. अब यहाँ पे एक थैंक यू, एक बहुत फ्रीक्वेंटली चीजें पूछते हैं, कुछ क्वेश्चन है रैपिड फायर है, ठीक है? ओके, रैपिड फायर खेलते हैं. एक टॉपर कितने घंटे सोता है? ये ऐसे क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, सच बता रही
Very
हूँ मैं.
depends on the person, but I used to sleep for 7 or 8 hours on average. Occasionally less, occasionally more, but on average at least 6 to 7.
6 to 7 hours. Okay. Okay. Question number 2. क्या हमें दिन में सोना चाहिए या रात में सोना चाहिए?
Personal preference. I sleep at night. In college it's different, but when I was preparing, I used to sleep at night. I never really slept during the day unless I was very exhausted, so I'd take an hour's nap. But otherwise, it was always at
ठीक है.
night.
Okay. Exam day वाले दिन हमें क्या खा के जाना चाहिए?
Anything that you like because you want to be in a good frame of mind, but something light. Light in the sense you should not be going there with a heavy stomach because that'll make you drowsy. But it should be filling because you need to have sufficient energy.
Yeah, energy because
Yeah.
आप 3 घंटे brain activity super fast.
Correct. It's very intensive. Those 3 hours being in the afternoon, it will take a toll on your mind. So something that you like so that it puts you in the right frame of mind, and something filling enough to keep you energized. That's the point.
The next question is, how many mock test paper a student should give before the NEET exam?
There's no fixed number, but at least, I mean, personally, I used to write one every day.
One every day.
Occasionally two if I had two scheduled. For 45 to 60 days before the exam, I was writing one paper a day.
Okay.
Occasionally two.
45 days.
45 to 60 days, I don't remember exactly. So while there's no fixed number, two things to take care of. One, write as many as you can. You have never written enough tests. The more you write, the greater your chance of success.
Okay.
It's like that. You'll feel prepared for anything in the final exam. Secondly, do ensure that you're giving enough time to analyze your test. There's no point writing if you're not going through your mistakes. Like you might be able to write 3 papers a day, but it doesn't matter if you haven't gone
If you
through
don't
your errors.
analyze.
Right.
हाँ.
Like you need to go through it and see if there's a chapter or a concept that you're making mistakes in again and again. So then you need to go back and read up on that. So do ensure that no matter how many tests you're writing, it only makes a difference if you're analyzing it. So that's it.
So analysis is very important with giving mock test. ठीक है, उसी से ही आप अपनी प्रिपरेशन में डिफरेंस ला सकते हो. नाउ द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कि PYQs कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है?
PYQs are important more from the sense that you know what kind of questions they ask. Like for a lot of people up to 10th grade, they didn't know how MCQs look. Like school exams are subjective. And the way of learning and answering is obviously very different for subjective and objective type. So you can go through PYQs so that you know how questions have been asked in the past. I remember one thing that I was told about 1 week before my exam about the importance of PYQs. A lot of tests that I had written up until that point didn't have confusing options. They had options which were like non-overlapping.
Okay.
Sometimes it will appear to you that, especially if you try some last year papers and all, that 2 or 3 options seem correct, 2 or 3 options seem similar.
Yes.
So the skill of being able to differentiate between them will come only from writing last year papers.
Okay.
Or papers that mimic last year's patterns, whatever. So for that purpose, I think it is important that you
To
try
solve,
PYQs.
PYQs.
But don't think that, like ये ना school या college की exam नहीं है कि अगर PYQs देख लेंगे तो pass हो जाएंगे. So like it's
आइडिया लग जाएगा.
हाँ, you know what
You
to
know
do,
the idea.
solve it, but you can't like it's just a supplement. It will not help you prepare for the exam from a conceptual perspective. It's so that you know how to approach the exam and the questions.
ओके, एंड द लास्ट क्वेश्चन जो अक्सर बच्चे मुझसे पूछते हैं वो ये पूछते हैं कि मैम जब हम प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं तो हम बहुत डीमोटिवेटेड कभी कभी फील करते हैं. सो व्हाट इज दैट थिंग विच कैन कीप मी मोटिवेटेड थ्रू आउट माई प्रिपरेशन?
This is a very personal question, and the answer will be different for different people. My personal experience, when I felt demotivated, I'd take a break, I'd do something I liked. Another thing I remember I used to do during my preparation period, I was watching the show House MD. For those of you who know, it's a medical show. So I used to watch that and see doctors being shown cool. So I used to watch that.
cool.
I used to watch that and think कि मैं अगर अच्छे से पढ़ूंगा, अच्छे कॉलेज में जाऊंगा, I'll be like them. कि मैं उनकी तरह कूल बन पाऊंगा. So I mean that it's a very shallow thing. Okay, obviously TV shows are very different from reality, but short term तो मतलब you get that burst of energy,
Exactly.
that motivation. It's like this. If you're a cricketer, you look up to an idol of sorts. If you want to learn how to play cricket, you look up to an idol of sorts. For me, it's a little like that.
I agree.
Apart from that, you can please do give some time to your hobbies and interests, because it will help you stay focused while you're
Focused,
studying, while giving the
concentrated, happy.
exam. Happy. All these things matter more than a lot of people realize actually. So do ensure that you're giving time for your interest, giving some me time, as they say.
Yes. बिल्कुल. So I think this session is really great. बहुत अच्छे से मृणाल ने हमको सब कुछ बताया. अब एक छोटी सी अनाउंसमेंट मैं कर देती हूँ. थैंक यू मृणाल. हाँ, छोटी सी अनाउंसमेंट बच्चों मैं कर देती हूँ. पहले तो मृणाल का बहुत बहुत थैंक यू कि वो इतने शॉर्ट नोटिस पे आया स्टूडियो में रिकॉर्डिंग के लिए. और नेक्स्ट ईयर मैं चाहूंगी कि आप बच्चे भी आए हमारे पास स्टूडियो में रिकॉर्डिंग के लिए, बिकॉज समवेयर यू आर मोटिवेटिंग लैक्स ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स. तो ये मोटिवेशन बहुत ज़रूरी है बच्चों के अंदर. कुछ बच्चे खुद मोटिवेट हो जाते हैं, सेल्फ मोटिवेट हो जाते हैं, कुछ बच्चों को करना पड़ता है. तो आई थिंक दिस इज़ अ ग्रेट वे टू मोटिवेट यू पीपल. अब यहाँ पे अगर मैं देखूँ तो बच्चों एक छोटा सा क्रैश कोर्स आ रहा है 45 डेज का, ठीक है, जिसके अंदर पर्सनल मेंटरशिप भी है, डीपीपीज भी है, टेलीग्राम लिंक भी है, डेली एंड वीकली टेस्ट भी है, फुल सिलेबस टेस्ट भी है. आई एम टेकिंग ऑल द क्लासेस ऑफ जूलॉजी एंड बॉटनी. तो इस 45 डेज कोर्स को यू कैन टेक इट. द लिंक इज गिवन इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स. इट इज जस्ट फॉर 239 रुपीज. दैट्स इट. ये फर्स्ट टाइम अनअकैडमी की हिस्ट्री में किया. वी आर ब्रिंगिंग द कोर्स फॉर यू इन जस्ट 239 रुपीज. सो स्टे मोटिवेटेड. आ जाओ हमारे साथ, ज्वाइन द कोर्स. आई वुड लव टू सी यू ऑल. ठीक है. एंड डू नॉट फॉरगेट टू कॉमेंट in the section #DilSeNeet, and thanks to Mrinal for coming in the studio. Thank you बच्चों and take care.